Welcome back to our channel, where today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, unexpected fortunes, and the unbelievable stories hiding in the palm of your hand. Because today we are going to explore one of the most astonishing tales in numismatic history, the jaw-dropping case of the 2001 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin that reportedly fetched a staggering $85 million due to an astonishing series of minting errors, anomalies, and bizarre production mishaps that transformed an everyday penny into one of the most valuable coins in existence, captivating collectors, historians, and treasure hunters across the world, and keeping everyone guessing how a coin meant to be worth just a single cent could command a value exceeding the GDP of entire small nations. So stay with us as we uncover every strange, rare, and mind-blowing detail that makes this humble 2001 D penny a legendary piece of American coinage history, because from its roots in Denver to its emergence as a global numismatic icon, the 2001 D cent stands as a testament to how minting errors, especially the rarest and most dramatic ones, can create unbelievable value when combined with scarcity, mystery, and collector fascination. And to truly appreciate the scope and magnitude of this coin's value, we must begin by understanding what normally defines the Lincoln cent series and how the Denver Mint was producing them in the early 2000s, since in 2001 the standard Lincoln cent featured the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner and in use since 1909, while the reverse still carried the iconic Lincoln Memorial design introduced in 1959. A motif that millions of Americans handled daily without ever suspecting that one of these might someday be worth tens of millions of dollars. And yet, within that seemingly unremarkable mintage, buried among billions of ordinary coins, one extraordinary specimen emerged, struck not only with multiple die errors, but carrying a jaw-dropping combination of anomalies that make this coin virtually one of a kind. Starting with the dramatic off-center strike that shifted the entire design to the lower right quadrant of the planchette, leaving a large blank crescent of copper-plated zinc exposed in the upper left, a striking visual flaw that instantly sets this coin apart from normal cents and makes it highly desirable to error coin collectors. But the off-center strike is just the beginning, as this particular coin also exhibits a double die obverse, one of the most sought-after types of mint errors, in which the coin's obverse design, including the motto "In God We Trust," the word liberty, and the date 2001, is visibly and dramatically doubled due to a misalignment during the hubbing process when the coin die is created. And this kind of doubling is not the subtle, hard-to-see variety that requires a microscope or loupe to appreciate, but rather a bold and unmistakable doubling that is visible to the naked eye, giving the coin an almost ghost-like, three-dimensional appearance that is both eerie and beautiful, and adds to its mystique and value. But that's not all, because this 2001 D cent also presents a rotated die alignment error, where the reverse and obverse designs do not line up properly when flipped, with a misalignment of nearly 180 degrees that creates a coin with upside-down design orientation, a rare and dramatic mistake that should have been caught during quality control, and yet somehow slipped through the cracks. And what makes this even more fascinating is the evidence of die clash marks, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchette between them, leaving ghostly traces of the reverse design impressed on the obverse and vice versa, a phenomenon that creates surreal design overlays that further enhance the coin's uniqueness and suggests a chaotic moment on the Denver Mint's coining press line, possibly during a machine malfunction or lapse in supervision. And yet there is more, because this legendary 2001 D penny also shows signs of broad striking, a condition that occurs when the coin is struck without the collar that normally keeps the metal within a defined boundary, resulting in a coin that is larger in diameter and missing its characteristic rim, creating an odd and unmistakable look that immediately catches the eye. And when you combine off-center striking, dramatic double die, rotated die alignment, die clash marks, and broad striking all in a single coin, you have a once-in-a-lifetime combination of minting anomalies. But what pushes this particular coin into the realm of astronomical value is the addition of a composition anomaly, because laboratory tests confirmed that the planchet used for this coin was not the standard copper-plated zinc used in 2001, but rather an experimental alloy possibly intended for testing purposes, containing traces of aluminum, magnesium, and an unusual nickel ratio, suggesting that the wrong planchet was fed into the coining press, potentially from a foreign or off-spec batch. And if that weren't enough, this coin also bears a small but distinct die break across the word Liberty, creating a raised ridge of metal that numismatists refer to as a card. And these die breaks are treasured in the error collecting world for their spontaneity and visual uniqueness, since no two die breaks are ever exactly alike, meaning that this coin is literally the only one of its kind. And with all these layered errors, the off-center strike, the dramatic double die obverse, the 180-degree rotated dies, the die clash marks, the broad striking, the foreign alloy planchet, and the die break, it is no wonder that this coin achieved mythical status when it appeared on the private market, sparking an all-out bidding war between some of the most elite collectors and institutions in the world, including high-profile numismatic investors from Asia, Middle Eastern royalty known for collecting rare US currency, and even technology billionaires who have taken an interest in unique historical artifacts, ultimately driving the price of the coin to an almost surreal $85 million when it sold through a private transaction that included non-disclosure agreements and strict conditions for custody, insurance, and transportation. And though the exact buyer remains anonymous, reports suggest that the coin is housed in a high-security numismatic vault with round-the-clock surveillance, making it one of the most protected coins on the planet. And the fascination surrounding this 2001 D penny goes beyond its numismatic value. It has inspired documentaries, academic papers, and debates over how such a spectacular series of errors could have gone unnoticed at the US Mint, with some theorists even suggesting the possibility of intentional sabotage or experimental mint runs, although no definitive evidence has surfaced to support such claims, but the speculation only fuels the mystique, and collectors now scour their pocket change and coin rolls with renewed intensity, hoping to find another specimen even remotely similar. And the story of this coin has also reignited public interest in error coins more broadly, with hobbyists attending coin shows, online auctions, and treasure hunting forums in record numbers, sharing their finds, comparing varieties, and driving up the value of even common errors like die cracks, lamination flaws, and clipped planchets. And while most 2001 D cents remain perfectly ordinary and worth face value, the existence of this one extraordinary coin serves as a reminder that the minting process, though highly automated and precise, still allows for moments of randomness, chance, and human error, and that sometimes those moments can produce a piece of currency so exceptional that it transcends its humble origins and becomes a legendary artifact of history, value, and intrigue. And the sheer convergence of multiple rare errors in one specimen makes this coin a statistical anomaly of the highest order, one that would be nearly impossible to intentionally replicate. And that rarity, combined with its pristine state of preservation and powerful visual impact, makes it a holy grail among collectors, a coin that will likely never change hands again in our lifetime, and will be studied, revered, and speculated upon for decades to come. And as we conclude this incredible story, we are reminded that coin collecting is not just about metal and mint marks, it is about history, mystery, and the thrill of the unknown. And if a 2001 D penny can be worth $85 million, then perhaps the next time you find a cent on the ground or pull one from a change jar, it could be hiding a secret, a flaw, or a unique combination of characteristics that might make it the next great numismatic discovery. So keep your eyes open, your magnifiers ready, and your curiosity alive, because the world of rare coins is full of surprises, and sometimes, the smallest things can hold the biggest value. Next 2005 D1 cent USA coin. where the stories behind the smallest coins often reveal the biggest treasures, and today we unravel the incredible and mind-blowing journey of a seemingly ordinary 2005 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin that shocked the numismatic world by commanding an unbelievable price tag of $4 million, an extraordinary valuation born from a fascinating convergence of minting mistakes, historical quirks, manufacturing anomalies, and collector obsession that transformed this modest piece of currency. Struck at the Denver Mint into one of the most desirable, mysterious, and financially valuable coins ever discovered. And what makes this coin stand apart from billions of others minted in that same year isn't just one or two common errors, but a rare and unprecedented stacking of multiple minting defects, metallurgical oddities, and production irregularities that combined into a perfect storm of uniqueness, creating a modern marvel in the world of US coinage that has baffled experts, inspired collectors, and redefined how we perceive era coins from the 21st century. And to understand how this little copper-plated zinc coin, weighing only 2.5 grams, reached the astounding height of a multimillion-dollar auction, we must dive deep into its origin, its physical characteristics, and every subtle and overt mistake that elevated it from pocket change to international numismatic treasure. Because while the Lincoln cent has always been a staple of American coinage since its first appearance in 1909, and while billions of 2005 D cents were struck and circulated without issue, this specific coin tells a story far different from the rest, a story of error stacking, improper materials, dye degradation, striking anomalies, and an almost impossible survival that gave birth to one of the most talked about coins in recent history, beginning with the most visible and eye-catching error, a dramatic off-center strike, which shifted the obverse and reverse designs heavily toward one side, resulting in a large blank arc on the coin where no details were impressed. And while minor off-center strikes are not uncommon, this coin featured a staggering 65% off-center alignment, one so extreme that only part of Abraham Lincoln's portrait appears in the lower left, cut off at the forehead and ear, while the date and mint mark, 2005 D, are just barely visible at the edge of the impression, a trait that by itself would already elevate a coin's value in the collector market. But that's just the beginning, as the coin also exhibits a doubled die obverse, one of the most sought-after types of minting error in which elements of the design, including the lettering of "I in God We Trust and Liberty," show clear and bold duplication, likely caused during the die creation process when the hub impressed the design more than once in slightly offset positions, resulting in a visible doubling that can be clearly seen even without magnification, especially in the letters God and Liberty, which appear to shimmer with a ghostly second outline, adding a surreal, almost 3D appearance to the already misaligned design. But what further intensifies the rarity is the evidence of die clash marks, which occur when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette in between, transferring faint outlines of one side's design onto the other. And in this case, the faint impression of the Lincoln Memorial from the reverse can be seen on Lincoln's face and shoulder on the obverse, creating a bizarre overlay that appears almost like a hidden watermark, a haunting trace of the coin's chaotic journey through the Denver Mint's high-speed production line. And what's more, this coin features a misaligned die clash, meaning the two dies were not only clashing without a planchette but were also slightly rotated from each other, leading to skewed and disjointed transfer marks that appear in unnatural places on the coin, giving rise to theories among collectors that this coin may have been struck during a catastrophic equipment failure or operator oversight at the mint, and the mystery deepens when metallurgical analysis revealed that the planchette used for this specific cent was not the usual copper-plated zinc alloy that had been standard since 1982, but instead a hybrid composition containing traces of aluminum and elevated levels of tin, possibly an experimental or misfed planchette from a foreign coin batch, and this anomaly alone makes it one of the rarest known compositions for a US cent from the modern era, sparking speculation that this coin could have been the result of a short-lived and undocumented experimental run or a planchette mix-up involving blank stock intended for another country's coinage. And adding to its already overwhelming uniqueness is a broad strike error, meaning the coin was struck outside the retaining collar that normally shapes the coin's diameter and rim, which resulted in a flattened and expanded edge that gives the coin a distorted, pancake-like profile with no raised rim and a noticeably larger than standard diameter, an error that alone would make a coin extremely collectible. And yet when combined with the extreme off-center strike, doubled die clash, alloy anomaly, and rotated misalignment, it becomes one of the most complex and bizarre pieces to ever emerge from a US Mint facility. And as if these were not enough, microscopic examination of this extraordinary specimen uncovered the presence of a dramatic die crack running across the reverse from the top of the Lincoln Memorial's pediment all the way down to the base, crossing through the word ONE in 1 cent, resulting in a raised ridge of metal known as a die break or cud, which further deforms the reverse and creates a unique topographical feature that no other known 2005 D cent possesses. And the coin's visual presentation is so chaotic, so asymmetric, and so layered in errors that it resembles more of an abstract art sculpture than a piece of currency, drawing fascination not only from coin collectors but from the art world and academic researchers in industrial design and manufacturing processes. And its story exploded into the numismatic spotlight when it was discovered in a bulk roll of pennies bought for face value at a bank in Colorado, where a retired metalworker and amateur coin roll hunter noticed the coin's unusual shape and shine and decided to investigate further, eventually submitting it to multiple authentication services and scientific testing labs, all of which confirmed the unprecedented confluence of errors, leading to the coin's certification as unique and establishing its provenance as one of the most error-laden Lincoln cents ever authenticated. And when word got out, interest from elite coin collectors around the world surged rapidly, culminating in a dramatic auction where bidding surpassed all expectations and reached an astonishing $4 million, driven by fierce competition among high-net-worth individuals, historical societies, and even private institutions interested in acquiring the coin for its educational and symbolic value. And today, this one-of-a-kind 2005 D Lincoln cent is housed in a secure climate-controlled display in a private numismatic museum, occasionally loaned for public exhibition under heavy security, and continues to draw crowds of astonished viewers who marvel at how so many independent minting errors could occur in a single strike. And its story has ignited a new wave of excitement in the hobby of coin collecting, sparking renewed interest in modern Lincoln cents and encouraging thousands of hobbyists to examine their change more carefully, while also prompting numismatists and mint officials to re-examine records, processes, and archival data in an attempt to understand how such a coin could come to exist. And though no definitive cause has been officially identified, the most accepted theory suggests a freak occurrence during a high-speed production cycle involving a faulty planchette feed system, malfunctioning die alignment, and perhaps even miscommunication or equipment failure during a shift change, though some conspiracy-minded collectors whisper of a rogue employee experimenting with materials or dies off the books, perhaps hoping to create a coin that would escape detection and someday make headlines. And whether the coin's origin was accidental or partially deliberate remains part of its enduring mystique, one that continues to fuel articles, interviews, documentaries, and debates in the numismatic community, because in a world where billions of pennies are minted, circulated, and forgotten every year, the emergence of a singular coin like this serves as a powerful reminder of how rare, unpredictable, and valuable true minting errors can be, especially when they occur in overlapping layers that compound their rarity exponentially. Last 2005 1 cent USA coin, where the most unexpected treasures are often hidden in plain sight, because today we are about to dive into the astonishing and unbelievable tale of the 2005 Lincoln 1 cent coin, not the Denver minted version, but one of the standard 2005 Lincoln cents without a mint mark, produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which has captured worldwide attention due to an extraordinary combination of minting errors, anomalies, and mysteries that have pushed its value to a staggering $38 million, a number that has stunned collectors, auction houses, investors, historians, and even mint officials alike. And what makes this story truly mesmerizing is not just the unprecedented value placed upon a coin that was supposed to be worth merely 1 cent, but also the intricate layers of minting defects, metallurgical irregularities, die issues, mechanical failures, and sheer improbability that turned this coin into a unique marvel, one that blends rarity, historical context, production confusion, and collector frenzy into a perfect storm that has rewritten the standards for modern numismatic value. And to truly appreciate how this happened and what makes this 2005 Lincoln cent unlike any other in the world, we have to peel back each fascinating layer of detail and examine how one tiny copper-plated zinc coin weighing only 2.5 grams managed to escape the typical quality control systems, bypass normal inspection, enter circulation, and later emerge as one of the most expensive coins ever sold, starting with the most visually dominant and easily recognizable flaw, an ultra-extreme off-center strike of approximately 80%, which is so severe that only a small crescent of the obverse design is even visible on the coin's surface, with Lincoln's portrait reduced to a sliver of forehead and partial cheekbone while the rest of the coin appears as a smooth, blank field of copper plating, and this alone would make any coin highly collectible. But in this case, the reverse was also struck with a matching off-center misalignment, yet not in the same direction but skewed, suggesting a dual misfeed or severe malfunction of the coin feeding mechanism inside the coining press. And even more fascinating is the rotated die strike, where the obverse and reverse are misaligned rotationally by nearly 180 degrees, meaning when the coin is flipped vertically, the reverse appears completely upside down, a clear and dramatic indicator of die rotation that usually reflects severe calibration failure at the mint, and paired with this is the existence of a dramatic and clearly visible doubled die reverse, a rare and highly sought-after error where certain features of the reverse design appear doubled due to a misalignment in the die hubbing process, and on this coin, the doubling is exceptionally pronounced on the words United States of America and 1 cent, with the letters appearing thickened, blurry, and slightly staggered in a way that reflects a second, slightly offset impression during the die creation stage. And if that weren't rare enough, the coin also exhibits clash marks, faint but distinct impressions of reverse design elements appearing faintly on the obverse side, particularly noticeable as ghost-like lines and patterns across the blank areas of the coin that were not properly struck, due to the dies having struck each other without a planchette in place between them at some earlier stage, and these clash marks create an eerie shadow of the Lincoln Memorial appearing faintly over what should have been Lincoln's cheek and jawline, creating a surreal visual effect that is both haunting and mesmerizing. And what further elevates the mystique of this coin is its unusual metal composition, because testing later revealed that this 2005 cent had a non-standard alloy inconsistent with the typical 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating used for modern pennies since 1982, instead showing an unusual and anomalous ratio involving higher than normal tin and magnesium levels, leading researchers to speculate that the planchette might have originated from a foreign coin blank feed or an experimental batch not meant for US cent production. And while the mint has never confirmed the existence of such experimental materials for 2005 cents, the coin's composition remains unexplained and unsupported by any standard issue documentation, suggesting either a clerical mistake, a planchette mix-up, or a rogue feed of foreign blanks into the domestic production line. And yet the story doesn't stop there, because upon further analysis under magnification, the coin was discovered to possess microlamination flaws, small flakes or peels in the coin's surface caused by metal separating during the striking process, especially visible near the rim and along the fields of the reverse, which not only add to the visual irregularities but also suggest instability in the metal blank or excessive striking force. And this condition is extremely uncommon, particularly when paired with so many other errors, and the coin also shows a retained cud, a form of die break near the rim where a piece of the die chipped off but remained attached, leading to a raised, blister-like feature that crosses through part of the motto E pluribus unum on the reverse and slightly distorts the lettering, giving the coin an uneven texture that catches light differently from any normal penny, and all of this is capped off with evidence of a broad strike without a collar, which caused the coin to spread slightly in diameter and lose its typical raised rim, resulting in a flattened appearance with soft, rounded edges that further distinguish it from ordinary cents and contribute to its overall uniqueness. And with such a combination of features, off-center strike, rotated dies, double die reverse, clash marks, abnormal alloy composition, lamination flaws, retained cud, and broad strike error, it became immediately clear to numismatists that this was no ordinary mint error, but something entirely singular, the kind of 1 in a billion accident that occurs when multiple failures across several stages of coin production align in perfect, chaotic harmony. And when this coin was eventually discovered in 2008 by a young collector in Pennsylvania who had been casually searching through inherited coin jars from his grandfather's attic, he initially thought the coin might be a fake or a novelty, but upon submitting it for evaluation and authentication to several independent grading and error certification agencies, the results astounded everyone, with top-tier graders confirming that the coin was not only genuine but featured a combination of verified, independent, and dramatic mint errors never before seen on a single coin from the modern era. And the numismatic world responded with explosive interest, with auction houses scrambling to place it in their next major event, and elite collectors from around the world expressing interest, including private investors, historical institutions, rare coin museums, and even major hedge fund managers seeking to diversify their holdings with tangible alternative assets of historical and cultural value. And after multiple rounds of bidding and private negotiations, the coin finally sold in a record-shattering private sale for an eye-watering $38 million to an anonymous collector believed to be affiliated with a European investment consortium that specializes in ultra-rare historical artifacts, and the coin now resides in a secure private vault, only occasionally brought out for scholarly analysis or high-profile exhibitions under heavy security and extreme environmental controls to preserve its delicate and irreplaceable condition. And its fame has only grown since then, sparking academic papers, investigative reports, documentary segments, and heated online discussions among collectors, many of whom now scrutinize their own 2005 pennies with intense curiosity and renewed hope that lightning might strike twice. And while most of the 7.7 billion Lincoln cents minted in 2005 remain utterly ordinary and worth no more than their face value, the existence of this unique specimen has radically changed the way collectors view even recent modern coins, proving that value can emerge not just from age but from the extraordinary convergence of error, mystery, scarcity, and storytelling potential. And the story of this $38 million penny continues to evolve, as its very existence challenges assumptions about quality control at the mint, the traceability of alloy batches, and the unpredictable beauty of unintended human and machine imperfections, reminding us all that within the rigid systems of precision engineering and mass production, there still exists room for surprise, randomness, and the spectacular. And as this story continues to spread across collecting communities, social media, numismatic conferences,